And Darren, indeed, turning the clock back, we do remember strong, or the tough on crime and tough on the causes of crime, and marching miscreants to the, I think, if I remember, the cash points to actually pay up after doing these immediate crimes. A bit of an echo of the past here.
Yeah, indeed. In fact, actually, one reporter put it to the Prime Minister that we'd heard an initiative to tackle antisocial behaviour pretty much from every Prime Minister since Tony Blair, maybe to no effect. Rishi Sunak's answer on that, well, he's only a couple of months into the job, was his response. But as you say, the government heavily trailed this over the weekend, didn't they, that they are going to ban nitrous oxide, or laughing gas as it is called. Now, it has already banned actually the sale of it to people for recreational use. This is going to criminalise people effectively for using it. Now, we heard from Rishi Sunak time and time again that people know the communities up and down the country are using laughing gas, because you see those silver canisters in parks and indeed in public areas. He's suggesting that that's one of the reasons he wants to ban it. Also the effect it has on young people. This suggestion that it might be a gateway drug. He talked about being the third most used drug among young people in the country, though it must frankly be said that lots of people were suggesting today that the Prime Minister seemed to be coming up with a littering strategy rather than something that was going to tackle anti-social behaviour. His focus on the mess that was left behind rather than anything else. But it is part of this wider package about tackling antisocial behaviour, as you say, cracking down on noise, being able to evict disruptive tenants more easily, to stop people begging for money at cash point, graffiti, and so on and so on. Though it must be said, given the fact that the conviction rate for crimes in this country is at an all-time low, I think only around 6 or 7% of crimes reported to police end up in a conviction, many might suggest, Mark, that the government and indeed the police might be better focused on real serious crimes rather than these low-level crimes. But maybe this is part of the broken glass strategy. Maybe remember that it's about trying to tackle low-level crime to a large degree in the hope that that leads to a situation in which you're less likely to see more serious crime.
Yeah, and of course it's perhaps not helpful that at the same time we've got this revelation by the Children's Commissioner on the strip search of youngsters, in particular black children, up to 6 times more likely to be strip searched. So it calls into question exactly how the mechanics then are put into place about whether it's stop or search or immediate justice, as it's being called. How does it work in practice?
Yeah, indeed, and this is also about potentially criminalising a lot of people for what is effectively a low-level crime. But I think the big question here is about resource, really. Now, we are probably going to get to, or we might do, we're going to find out, to that target of an extra 20,000 police officers by the end of this month that was announced back during the general election campaign in 2019 by the then Prime Minister Boris Johnson. But many communities feel that there aren't simply enough police officers on the beats. And in the end, also, it's about, as I say, trying to get those crimes that have been committed to lead to charges, to lead to convictions. You talk to anyone, I'm sure, many people listening may well report a crime. That's very, very different from the police, even investigating it, let alone it leading to an actual conviction. So there will be question marks over this policy. There'll be question marks about whether it's the right priority for the police. But second of all, even if it is, whether they'll be able to fulfil it. As for the Labour Party, they argue that, yes, while they agree with many of this, in fact, they would suggest they actually came up with much of what's in this document a couple of months ago. Their argument is the Conservative Party have been in power for 13 years, and frankly, they should have sorted this out a long time ago. Though it must be said, that is their mantra pretty much about everything when the government comes up with proposals at the moment.